Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. Here's your host, Morgan Colby and Rick Lemon.
Welcome to Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. It's poppin', Ricardo.
What's up, bro?
My name is Morgan Colby. I got Rick Lemon with me as always. It's going to be interesting. This Thursday night football game. This one seems fun. Because there's a lot of fantasy guys attached. It might not be a very fun game. What is it? A bunch of 500 teams duking it out.
Yeah, I mean, there's some wild card implications.
That is fair.
Whoever wins is kind of in a good spot, and whoever loses is
really
kind of toasted.
But anyway, today we're going to talk about the Thursday night football game and give you a Thursday night fantasy football preview into Week 14's matchup between the Vikings and the Steelers. And the first matchup of Week 14, the first matchup of your final regular season matchup. Where you're trying to make the playoffs right now. We got to help you make those decisions to make the playoffs and beyond. So,
yeah,
I'm excited to talk about this game. A lot of fantasy guys.
There are a lot of fancy guys in this one.
Better than the Jets and the Falcons. Might as well shoot myself.
Oh yeah, that's. Did we have a Thursday night game with Jets?
No, it was the Jets and the Falcons played subsequent weeks, so it was like we didn't even talk about anybody on that side.
Yeah,
Matt Ryan, no. Cordell Patterson, yeah, probably.
Yeah, maybe.
Dude, why is he good? By the way,
they use him like McCaffrey, but he's also actually been good. Like for the first time in his career, like his opportunity, like he gets like 5 yards of carry.
Is this like Mike Davis last year?
Kind of, but it's Mike Davis times 10. Because Mike Davis was.
I feel like it's gonna be even. You know how like Mike Davis went up and everyone was like, "Oh, no one else is gonna be there," and they were like, "Okay, we're gonna draft Mike Davis," and people got excited about that, and then Mike Davis ended up blowing chunks this year. I feel like the higher the rise with the Falcons, the harder the fall.
Yeah,
Patterson's gonna blow next year.
I don't know if he's gonna blow, but he's definitely gonna disappoint people. That's for sure. He's also 30 years old.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
Yeah, I don't know.
If you have Patterson in a dynasty league, now's the time.
Why is he still on your team? I guess if you're trying to championship run, might as well keep him.
I was talking. I did. It's completely unrelated to the conversation we were just having, but earlier this season, I traded when Mike Williams was going friggin' off a wall.
Oh yeah,
I traded.
You were right on that.
I traded Keenan Allen. I traded for Keenan Allen and traded Mike Williams away. It was just an even swap.
It's a good deal.
Yeah, now Mike Williams is getting like 4 points a game.
He had
back to OG Mike Williams. How many did he have this week?
14.
Oh, there you go.
Okay. Keenan Allen though had like 20.
So now my dilemma in this dynasty league is do I sell Keenan Allen?
You should. Keenan Allen also tested positive for COVID this week.
Yeah, I know. I guess. Don't remind me. Helps my tank.
Yeah, helps the tank.
Helps the last week tank of the season so that I can make sure somebody doesn't make the playoffs.
There you go.
No, but I will say, what do you think I can get for Keenan Allen?
In the off season, you might be able to get a late first. He's like 30 years old, so I mean that's not an awful deal.
Maybe I should just ride him out.
Yeah, you can do that too.
I don't know if that's a good idea. If I trade him, then I'm gonna have to wait for a receiver, hope a receiver works out, and then wait for them to develop into a star.
I mean, if you did it a year earlier, you could have got
this
Waddle
year. Also, we'll talk about this in the off season. Sorry to cut you off, Rick, but this year also is like maybe one of the worst classes I've ever seen in my life.
Oh yeah, that's what I tried to tell you last year though, because you were like these rookie receivers, like they won't develop. Like, I mean, they are not perfect. They're definitely not perfect, but they're like Chase and Waddle and Smith are all like startable some weeks.
I didn't say any rookies wouldn't be startable.
This upcoming year,
I'm saying it's not worth drafting Jamar Chase. Well, see, it kind of worked out that way in the beginning of the season. But like, it's not worth drafting a wide receiver in the top 5 rounds. I'm not into that.
Well, yeah. I mean, Chase was kind of did work, but he's been crappy lately. But overall, like those even though they're rookie receivers, like they're good. Mm-hmm. This upcoming year, I probably am going to agree with you. I don't think there's anybody that's going to be.
I'm like
scared. It's kind of a bad draft.
I'm hoping that there are some people. I think Mechie's coming out. John Mechie from Alabama. I really liked him.
He tore his ACL.
And he didn't really have a.
Probably going to fall in the draft. Probably like a 4th round pick.
Oh, I know. He didn't have the stupid part is that he didn't really have a great season to begin with.
I don't know if Mechie is. I feel like Mechie, like we look at all the Alabama receivers and like they all can't be good. I feel like Mechie is one of the guys that have benefited from Tua and Mac Jones a little bit.
Yeah, probably. I do like him. He seems like I was watching him on film.
No, he's solid. I think he's he's an NFL receiver. I just don't know if he's like a great NFL receiver. Does that make sense?
No, I don't know either. I don't think anyone in this class is really. I mean, there's probably a couple of guys, but
Chris Olave could be good from Ohio State.
The quarterbacks are a disaster.
Oh well, the guy from Liberty is. I don't know if he's actually going to be good.
You're in on him.
No, well, I am. I mean, but not necessarily because like anything about him. It's just the fact that he's a running quarterback too.
Yeah.
So for fantasy purposes, like I think he's going to be pretty good if he gets the opportunity. And he's if he's the top 10 pick in the NFL draft.
You know the receiver to watch for Alabama this year? Slade Bolden. Drafted.
That sounds like a.
He's going to get undrafted. He's going to be an undrafted rookie signing by Bill Belichick. Watch. He's a white slot receiver in Nick Saban's offense. 100% going to the Patriots and an undrafted rookie. He blows too. Yeah, Mechie didn't have a great year. Not happy with that. But either way, all right. Let's talk about fantasy football.
I was gonna say, get the college show out of the way.
Bro, I was gonna start. I'll say this after I do the intro. But check our website, fantasychampions.com. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or any other podcast platforms, leave a review, share this pod with your friends. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe, click the bell for noties, and like and comment down below. My point was, I was gonna say, people were getting lit about Michigan this week.
Oh yeah, because
they were going. They're like, oh my God, Michigan blew out Iowa State. They should be number 1. And I'm like, yeah, but Iowa State was like number 15. Alabama beats Georgia by 2 scores. The number 1 team in the country.
No, I agree. Bama should be number 1.
I'm like, Bama should be number 1. I know Michigan you hate them because they win every year, but like that's like
Michigan is one of those colleges. It's because of this. They have a huge fan. I was going to say it's because of this. They have a huge fan base, and they haven't been relevant, even with like Jim Michigan? Harbaugh being there. Yeah. They haven't been relevant since like the 90s. So now that they're here, they're like, it's like a huge. It's like when the Chiefs first became like really good. Again,
they're the new Clemson.
Like, kind of, yeah.
Except they put them right. They put them right in the Final Four.
There's a video I saw on Instagram. It was so funny. It's a guy like. He's crying to the camera, and he's like, I'm proud of you boys. I wish I was on the field with you every day. He's just like a Michigan fan. He's like a dad. Had a Michigan hat on. He's like in full tears, crying.
Are you
he's like,
kidding me?
I wish I could have been on the field. You all gave it your heart. You gave it everything you had. He's like, I wish I was there with you.
So funny.
It was.
Go follow. If you're into what is it called? Kevin Coleman. I think that's his last name.
Our boy Kev.
Yeah. What does he do? Is it I can't remember.
Devi,
thank you. If you do Devi, he's a great guy to follow. He writes content for Fantasy Pros, but I was following him on Twitter, and he loves college football, watches it every Saturday. If I watch college football and NFL football, I'm pretty sure my wife would kill me in my sleep, so that is something I'll probably never do besides highlights and full games at the end of the season. I follow it.
I watch the national championship.
I follow it. I actually followed it a lot more this year than I normally do, but I just never watch the games. But anyway, he said that if Michigan and Alabama play each other at any point in the college football playoffs, that there's a good shot, just based on how the teams are constructed, that Alabama's going to pants Michigan.
I hate Alabama, but it would kind of be funny to see that because the Michigan fan base.
I honestly think Georgia's going to pants them. To be honest with you, they've been playing really well, and they've had a lot of really good games, and they've done amazing stuff, but they have not been in the Final Four in the college football playoff. They haven't been in a contention for the top 4 seeds in the country, or the top 4 colleges in the country, for a long time. And so this is they're either going to show up and play lights out, or they're going to show up and get absolutely dominated by one of these teams that's there every year.
Yeah.
So anyway, college football, this is not a program for us.
Yeah, we took 10 minutes for college football, but that's all right.
I'm ready to talk about the draft. I don't know about you. This is getting ridiculous. So many bad players. It's going to be the worst month of my life. This draft is,
Anyway,
we're gonna talk about Thursday Night Football on this show. 20 minutes. Try to get it done in 20 minutes.
Yeah, we can do that.
So let's jump into the obviously the Vikings Steelers, as we said earlier. Let's jump into the Vikings first. Kirk Cousins at Steelers. Not really a juicy matchup. Not something that I'm I hate that phrase too, by the way. The vernacular juicy matchup. That's what? We're not eating a steak right now. We're talking about fantasy football.
He was our start of the week last week, wasn't he?
I believe so, and he got 22 against Detroit, so didn't do too bad.
Yeah, not bad.
He has Pittsburgh this week. Pittsburgh's another middle of the road kind of mediocre matchup, and he could see some success in this game. He's actually, on the season he's had, and this is, I'm gonna go to another link that's 4-point touchdown just to make the numbers right, but.
Statistically, he's having a career year. Actually.
Yeah, he's having a really good year, and the fantasy numbers are showing that as well. He's had 22, 24, 24, 11, 14, 27, bye week 12, 21, 16, 24, 16, 19. So he's had some really good games. In a 4-point touchdown league, 18, 19 fantasy points will get the job done. So I think he's playing rather decently. That's his I think 25 points is his ceiling.
Yeah,
just based on
he's not going to score more than that.
But. You can't expect him Mahomes, for example. You could reasonably expect a range of outcomes from 15 fantasy points to 40. Kirk Cousins isn't putting up 40, but he is a good streamable option. He's a good player to start in games where he has an easy matchup. Pittsburgh, I don't know if it's an easy matchup per se. If you have him and there's just no other options, I would go with Cousins. But if you have another quarterback who's decent for fantasy football, say Taysom or Kirk Cousins, I might start Taysom over Kirk Cousins.
I'm starting Taysom, yeah. Cousins is actually and I've always hated Kirk Cousins. I've been a big anti-Cousins, but I got to give due where credit is due. All right, he's been good this year.
Mac, is that
what is it?
So is that why you don't like Mac?
No. That's just partly. That's that's how it was at least. But no, Cousins in the past to me, he's still not the best, but he's played really, really well. I think this year, only his 25 touchdowns to 3 interceptions is ridiculous.
It's good.
I know a lot of people Stephen A. Smith was blaming Kirk Cousins that they lost the winless Lions. But he played good. I thought he played very good. And he actually scored a touchdown with 2 minutes left to take the lead. And then the Lions went down and scored with no time. So he didn't even get another chance. So I thought he played well. Mm-hmm. He's played well all year. It's just against Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh's middle of the pack against quarterbacks, but they also had a couple games without Fitzpatrick and TJ Watt. Mm-hmm. And in those games, teams lit them up. So I think the stats are a little
bit lopsided.
Because when those guys are fully healthy, the Steelers' defense has been top 10 in the league. And I know this past week, Lamar, I don't think did great against them.
He sucked. He had 14
points. He had 18, I guess, just from rushing. But passing-wise, he wasn't great.
That's ridiculous.
I don't think Cousins gets, he's not going to play awful. but I don't think he gets more than
and it's on Thursday night too. So like,
and it's on Thursday night. I think this is like a 15-16 fantasy point game for Cousins.
Yeah, I wouldn't either that or he goes off and gets 30, and we're just.
Yeah, I mean that could happen too. Who knows? I mean, I'll take it. Justin Jefferson gets like 3 touchdowns. Yeah, if you're in a dynasty league, obviously super flex, he's probably he's a really good QB2, but in a redraft, basically like what we usually talk about, he's probably to me like a high end QB2. So you're not really going out of your way to start that.
Now I will say, I think I don't know if it's the reason he's having a career year because the touchdown interception ratio has been absurd on the season. I think if you put the numbers in based on like the qualifying statistics, obviously, but he might have one of the lowest interception total among starting quarterbacks this year. I don't know the numbers on that, but either way, they have been, and I drafted Dalvin Cook this year, so I've been watching and Alexander Madison. So I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but it was a smart move. I'll say that. Every single week Dalvin Cook was out. But I watched this team, and they're passing it a little bit too much. They've gone away from their identity of running the ball, and they're passing it a lot more than they usually do, which would lead to Kirk Cousins having a career year. And there are some points where it's like his numbers look good, but if you actually watch the games, the offense stagnates a lot. So it could, I do like Kirk Cousins. I think he's he's a good quarterback for what it is, but he's also one of those quarterbacks where like you look at, plop Mac Jones in Minnesota right now and they have the same win total. Where you take Mac Jones, you put him on New England with a good defense, and all of a sudden it changes everything. So I think that's most of the reason why Minnesota can't get out of their own way is just the defense really isn't playing up to the level that they should.
I think that's their problem, is their defense is not that good.
But anyway, they have been sorry, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say I don't think their offense is the problem for the most part. I know you're right, they do sometimes get kind of stuck sometimes, like but they still have like a top 12 offense.
Well, rant for a second about the Raiders. We got to move on to other guys.
Out of the blue. That's random.
It reminded me of that. Do you know how much the Raiders throw the football? And they have a running back by the name of Josh Jacobs who's actually good. Like, if you look at his numbers, he's actually a good running back. Just give him the ball. How hard is it for you? From the get-go
sounds like someone
in the
who
game.
owns Josh Jacobs in the league.
What'd you say?
I said this sounds like someone who owns Josh Jacobs in the league.
Multiple, actually. But it just drives me. It does drive me nuts because, like, it drives me nuts when it's bad football. Like when you know, like the Raiders could be good and they could have this dynamic like equilibrium with the running back and the passing attack, and they have a decent quarterback to do it. And they come out in the first, second quarter just tossing the ball all over the yard, trying to get the ball, and they go 3 and out every single time. And then they start dumping it off to Josh Jacobs or handing it off and starting to get the play action going. It's like everything opens up for the whole offense, and they don't figure it out until the fourth quarter.
Is he really? I mean, he's averaging 3.8 yards a carry this year. That's kind of gross. Just saying.
You're hurting my soul right now. I just mean like they don't have a balance. Even if it's not Josh Jacobs, there's no balanced attack. Like even Kenyon.
They should right now because Henry Ruggs obviously decided to go 300 miles per hour on the highway, and then they also didn't have Darren Waller, so their top targets were Renfro and Bryan Edwards. And Zay Jones, like you have Josh Jacobs, I think they should be a run first team. But yeah,
I don't know why they do like to pass a lot. It's because the numbers show that when Carr has like 300 plus passing yards and like 2 touchdowns, they win. But I feel like if you put those numbers for any team, the percentages would be that you win.
No, it's just because he had like really good games.
Yeah. So anyway. Back to what we were talking about. Justin Jefferson has had a really, really good season this year. He's getting targeted out the wazoo. 14 targets this past week.
He is the wide receiver 2 in fantasy.
Woo! Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Dang, bro. Jeez, if Swift was not on the board, I was going to take Jefferson. That was the guy. Jefferson
He was my
or Brown.
guy all
I was
along.
sitting there thinking about Jefferson or Brown.
And I took both of them, and AJ
Boy,
Brown
frick you.
blows.
Yeah. But anyway, Justin Jefferson has been getting targeted a lot. That was one thing I was a little bit concerned about with the style of play that the Vikings have. You look at last year, and he was getting targeted a lot down the end stretch of the season, and that has continued into this year. So with that being said, he's the wide receiver too. He's a top 10 wide receiver. You got to start him.
Oh, yeah, you got to start him. I'm pretty lit because I have him in I have him 3 Dynasty leagues.
Yo, that's pretty good. I wish I had any of him. I really wanted Jamar Chase, like in all my dynasty.
I mean, I don't have. You have CeeDee Lamb in leagues, and I have 0 CeeDee Lamb, so we're even in that.
That's fair. Adam Thielen has been decent on the year. There's been some really good games, some really not so good games. He's kind of like a roller coaster almost. And before he got hurt, he's wide receiver 13 on the season.
I'd say he's pretty solid.
And he was wide receiver 13 on the year, and he had missed most of the Week 13 matchup due to injury. So he is estimated as a DNP on Monday. I don't know how extensive his injury is from the game, the ankle injury, but I will say I do not think he's playing Wednesday night. And if he does not play Wednesday night, obviously if he plays
Thursday night.
I feel he got Thursday night. Sorry. Why did I say Wednesday night? If he does not play I'm so screwed up right now. If there's never been a Wednesday night football game in my existence, and it's Wednesday night. If he does not play Thursday night, I am okay maybe riding in KJ Osborne.
Me too. Yeah, I don't think he's going to play, and that would leave an opportunity for KJ Osborne, who I think could be decent. I'm not starting him just to start him, but if you need a play, he could be very solid. He's probably going to be the number 2 option in the passing game. Dalvin Cook is probably going to be out this week, right? Sorry, we'll get to him. But because I was just going to say when it comes to targets. He would be an option, but if he doesn't play, KJ Osborne is probably going to be the number 2 guy. So he could see a lot of targets in that offense, and could be a good plug and play.
I agree. Could be a very good plug and play on Thursday night. I'm not loving the Pittsburgh passing defense, but KJ Osborne would slide into their slot role. So I like that. Dalvin Cook, he did not participate on Monday. This injury was expected to be a 2-week thing, according to Adam Schefter. And so I would expect him to miss this game on Thursday night and then ride out the next 10 days and just get prepared for Week 15. So he should be back by then. But with him being out, if you have Madison, whether he's a handcuff to Dalvin Cook or he's just on your bench, you got to start him. I mean, they're treating him literally like it's just they took Dalvin Cook's name off the jersey and pasted on Madison.
Yep.
So you got to start him. I have him in a league where I didn't handcuff him. I just had him on my bench, and I'm starting him in that league because he's going to get the opportunity, and the opportunity is going to lead to fantasy points. So
yeah, no, I agree.
But if Cook plays, don't play Madison. Start Cook.
Yes, obviously, yeah. Madison though with it is kind of a tougher matchup this week against the Steelers, but he's going to play the Cook role, so he's obviously going to be startable.
Yeah.
I think I had him as the RB6 last week, ranking wise. I had him as a mid RB1. This week he's probably going to be a low end RB1, a high end RB2 against the Steelers, I think.
Okay, sounds good. What about Conklin? You in on Conklin for the week?
With Thielen out, if you need a plug and play tight end, you're streaming tight ends, which good luck if you're doing that. I don't know how you're
because he might be the guy that gets I like Osborne and I think he's going to get work, but this could be the guy that ends up really getting the lion's share of the work because he had 9 targets in the game against Detroit.
I think he could be a good plug and play for tight end. Again, though, just like Osborne, I'm not playing him just to play him. If you need a tight end this week, though, Conklin's he's probably available in your league, and he's a good plug and play.
Okay, let's jump to the Pittsburgh Steelers quickly and go through this roster. Obviously, there's some guys that for the first time this week I heard the Big Ben goodbye tour. So It sounds like this could be it for Roethlisberger.
According to Adam Schefter, it is.
Okay, yeah. I was going to say, it should
There
be
was a report that came out this past week saying that he's already told teammates and stuff that this is last year.
It's like, I don't know if you play Madden, but when you get to the championship and you have a guy who's like ready to retire, they put you through these put you through these cut scenes where you're like in the playoffs and you're like, you got to win for the guy.
Win for this guy.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
It's about time for Big Ben to go. He's had a great career, but see you later.
At this point in his career, it's like Eli at the end. He's better than Eli at the end, but you can sometimes he'll do stuff and you're like, oh my gosh,
what the heck are you doing? Yeah. Now his schedule down the stretch here is like really easy. But he's had 120 plus point game on the season, and he almost got there against Baltimore. I don't know that he's going to have more. If you wanted to stream Ben Roethlisberger, this week would not be a bad week to do it. But I'm not starting Big Ben in any format unless it's a super flex league.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I'm not really going on my way to start. He has played okay the last couple of weeks. 19 against Baltimore, 22 against the Chargers. Before that, though, he hadn't scored more than 16 points in a week. So, yeah, I'm not starting against him.
Deonte Johnson, obvious start. He has gotten 120 targets. He might get 200. He would have to get 80 in 5 games, or 5 or 6 games, so that's probably not going to happen, but he's going to hit 160.
He's my wide receiver 1 in a dynasty league I'm in, and I'm not even that mad about it because he's playing like it.
He was one of the biggest draft steals, I'll say that. But he's wide receiver 7 right now in half PPR. He's had a really good season. I don't think he's had a game in PPR under 10 points.
Yeah,
no, he has not.
That's ridiculous.
He gets like 13 game almost. It's been ridiculous. So he's an obvious start. The guy on the other side, Chase Claypool, though, he's not as obvious. He's been disappointing because coming into the season, I liked Claypool even with Juju. Juju goes out, gets hurt. And Chase Claypool comes in. He's been dealing with some injury stuff, obviously. And there's been some really good weeks for him, but it's been kind of inconsistent. He's either missed a week, gotten hurt in a game, or just outright scored like 2 points. So, but there's been some really good games on top of that. So it's like, what are you going to get out of him? This is a week where you start Chase Claypool, though.
Really? You think so?
Yeah, he's playing Minnesota.
I still do. Maybe, I guess. He hasn't scored more than 11 points, though, since week 5.
Yeah, that's gross.
Like, he's been bad. I know the Vikings is a good matchup, but he's been bad. And he didn't practice on Monday, or the estimated practice. I don't know. There's a chance. He's probably going to be questionable for the game. I don't know. It's gross. I guess you could start him as a low-end flex option, but I think he's kind of trash.
James Washington, no go.
Not that he's trash. I'll take that back. It's just like, Ben Roethlisberger.
I wouldn't start James Washington. Wouldn't get
that's obvious one.
This is obvious. Najee, I'm good to go with. His efficiency hasn't been great, but obviously he's had the opportunity to do it. He's had 3 games over 4 yards a carry this year. So
yeah,
take that.
I will say,
the funny thing is that it's all against tough matchups.
I know that makes no sense. That O-line though is not good.
But even so, Najee is a top 5 running back.
Yeah, he's still.
You know what's stupid about this is what Bell looked like.
A little bit.
People don't remember that, but this is what Le'Veon Bell looked like.
Yeah.
The efficiency is not there because they just don't have a good offensive line. I think when they do get one, he'll be ridiculous.
Hopefully,
but you start Najee.
Yep, you do.
And then there's no one else in the running back core. Let's talk about Freiermuth and then end the show. Freiermuth.
Yeah. Okay.
Tight end to own over Kyle Pitts this year?
Oh my gosh.
God, I want to pull up the numbers real fast because Pitts. We talked about Pitts a couple weeks ago, and I took back some stuff, but Pitts has fallen off.
He's been bad. I mean, to be fair though, he is not. It's like the Hawkinson thing where he looks good, but they don't. Like Matt Ryan blows so bad, and they don't utilize him as much as they should.
Yeah, they really should utilize it. But
Matt Ryan, just quickly, Matt Ryan has 1 touchdown in the last 4 weeks.
Gross.
Total.
But Pat Freiermuth has 86 fantasy points, averaging 7.9 fantasy points per game. So he's actually been relatively decent. He's 0.4 fantasy points off Kyle Pitts.
Well, what are you looking? Because the one I'm looking at, Freiermuth has 92 and Pitts has 101.
I don't know. Pitts has 101 on mine, and Freiermuth has 86. Either way, it doesn't matter. I'm looking at Fantasy Pros.
Okay, well, I don't know.
But no, so I mean, Freiermuth kind of came on after week 6, coming out of the bye. He did have 7 targets in week 6, but he's had 7, 7, 6, 9, 7, 4, 4 the last couple weeks. He's become a red zone target. Minnesota's a tough matchup, so it's not a game that I would play Freiermuth in. If you have other options at tight end, I would go in that direction, but I'm not trotting Freiermuth out here.
Right.
Out of desperation.
He's not a bad play though, just because he's good chance he scores a touchdown. He already has 6 this year, and they've all been, or 5 of the 6 has been since the bye. So he's been on a roll. So it's not an awful start against Minnesota, but yeah, it is a tough matchup. So
okay, there you go. Thursday night football preview. Vikings Steelers should be an interesting game. I hope it's good. We're running on a Thursday night football game, so hopefully it really is a good one. But yeah, there you go. Got trade targets, got starts and sits. See you later this week, guys.
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Champions Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes and YouTube, and follow us on Twitter @TheFFChamps.